Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor. I was inspired to do this story for you last night. I got home and I realized that this show was going on. It was called The Great Crypto Conspiracy of 2018. A week or so ago, I had shown you an article by this guy, Tika Tawari. He is from the Palm Beach letter, and I think I had kind of gone over his background, but he's the editor of the Palm Beach group. It's a financial newsletter that's out of Palm Beach, Florida, where a lot of the wealth of the United States is. And the reason that this caught my attention is because guys like this, most of these guys that write these newsletters out of down there in Florida and some of these wealthier areas, they have exposure to a lot of wealthy people, and in turn, they travel the world meeting with wealthy people and wealthy institutions. So anyway, I saw where Glenn Beck was going to run this program with him, and he wrote an article called The Same Thing. It was, I think, yesterday, but they called it The Great Crypto Conspiracy of 2018, and I had not even intended to watch this, but I was reminded last night. So I flipped it on, and it was so fascinating that I started taking photos. They had bulletin boards, and I started taking photos so that I could go over what he talked about with you today. And he is exactly in line with what I've been telling you guys. He and I differ on one or two things. The first thing being, he didn't mention XRP. That probably means that he's loading up on it himself. I don't know. But XRP is far and away a better digital asset than anything he mentioned. He talked about Bitcoin a lot. But that doesn't bother me at all. I love what he said about the overall crypto market, and this is about how the powerful, wealthy people have intentionally been misleading and manipulating the market to get ready to position themselves, which is what I feel like they've been doing in 2018, and I've talked to you all about this. But I wanted to make sure you understood this guy. He's got a financial background. He actually he worked at Lehman Brothers. He's a contributor to Fox Business Network. He's been on Fox News, CNBC, Nightline. So this guy is a sharp guy. And if you have a chance, go back and watch the video. If you can find where to watch it, I'm sure it's all over the internet. But I'm going to go through some of the screenshots with you. So just bear with me. I want you to see some of the screenshots that I saw. The first, this was his bulletin board that he had done. And he, of course, called it the Great Cryptocurrency Conspiracy. What I think it more is than anything is this is what the wealthy have been doing for centuries, is doing head fakes while the hordes of average people get scared off by what they're saying or doing. And it's the old saying, don't listen to what they say, watch what they do. That's what's important, and that's what if I had to sum up my channel, that's what it's about when I'm talking about the overall big picture, is stop paying attention to what these guys are coming out and saying and pay attention to what they're doing. But right here, you're looking, what he did is he created a timeline, and he's talking about what all of these big people like JP Morgan and these guys were saying. Now it's going to be difficult for me because of the way I snapshotted these to go through in a really, really organized fashion. But I first want to explain to you, he starts here, and this is, I think he covers about a year, and he takes you through the things that J.P. Morgans and the Jamie Dimons and the George Soroses and the Goldman Sachs, the things they were saying about cryptocurrencies back here, and then what they were eventually saying here, and what they were doing while they were bad mouthing it. And it's fascinating to see this because these guys are creeps, but that's how they make money. Okay. So I, on a lot of these, I'm just zooming in on these slides so that you can get a better look. This is what they were saying. That's a blurry version of that. Let me see if I can find the better version. Oh well, we'll go with it as long as I can read it. I'm sorry that it's blurry, but you'll see some better slides. I'm doing the best I can piecing these together. What experts say, Bitcoin is a fraud, is what Jamie Dimon said. The price of Bitcoin fell, and we're using Bitcoin as an example just because it still leads the market. Price fell 24%. Bitcoin is a bubble. George Soros, he said that. I believe that says January 24th. And the price fell 44%. Most cryptocurrencies will crash to zero. That's what Goldman Sachs said on February 7th. Price fell, and I'll get you that number here in a second. Let me get out of this. Let's see if this slide is better. No, that's a different topic. I'll get to that in a minute. I'm going to pull that one aside. Okay, here we go. That's better. Zero, Goldman Sachs. The price fell 27% when Goldman Sachs said that. All right. Trying to make sure I don't do the overlap thing here. So what they're illustrating is that all of these guys are saying all these things right here. And then meanwhile, they were investing in Bitcoin after they're scaring everybody to death, they're making their bets after they do that. Let's see if I can pull that slide. Okay, here it is right here. Okay, so after they scared everybody right back in here and they were making all these comments, here in April and May, you've got Soros says buy. In other words, while I'm saying all this, you guys freak out, drive the market down, and he's buying right here. And then he tells you to buy in April. And then Goldman comes out and says they're going to have a trading desk. So this is how these people operate, and this is what's important for you to understand. So I thought that was just a really great illustration of what has gone on. I also wanted to point out to you another thing that they covered, and that is this housing. This is a better version right here. No. See, like I said, I'm sorry, I'm having to piece all these together, but this is, in this slide right here, they were comparing what's going on now to the way that the wealthy people have always done things. And this was what they did back in the housing crisis. Back when everybody was fleeing the housing market, the Blackstone Group came in and purchased 50,000 homes, $9.6 billion worth of homes. While everybody was scared to death and running out of that market, that's what they were doing. During the dot-com crash, this was not the dot. He incorrectly labeled this. What he was referring to was in about 95 of the internet, when the internet was coming about. 95 was when they were telling everyone that internet not to invest. It's too early to buy into internet stocks. Meanwhile, the institutions were purchasing the internet stocks left and right. And then later came the dot-com run-up, and they were probably out way before 99 and 2000 happened. But that's what they were. That's exactly how they played it. And in each scenario, in each of these markets, the big money people and the wealthy people, they play it the same way. Before I forget about it, I want to tell you about a story that he told during this thing last night. And this is really the primary difference between, like, for instance, you may like listening to me. Well, what I'm telling you is the same thing this guy's telling you in terms of how these people are manipulating the market. But the big difference between me and this guy is that this guy has access to the wealthy individuals and the behind the scenes. That's why I find this fascinating information. This guy told a story last night about how he was at a meeting of about 60 something wealthy individuals in I think he said a castle in Scotland, and he said that he was talking to one of the major institutional, he may have said it was like a institutional fund or a teacher's fund or something like that, but it was a big institutional, somebody who can move a lot of money into cryptocurrencies. And he said that the institutional person was telling him that they are coming into cryptocurrencies, and he was asking them how they can do it safely. And I want to say they were talking about the custody issue. The institutional person had already had an answer for him and told him that we're coming in, and the way we're coming in is we're going to do it in a safe way. We're going to buy into what's called a fund of funds. So we will invest in a fund that is invested in that, and that fund will buy. I think maybe that fund will buy into a fund that's bought into cryptocurrencies. That way, they don't have direct exposure to it. And so, the fact that the behind the scenes, these are the kind of really cool, interesting behind the scenes pieces of information you get from a guy like this that I cannot provide you. And so, I want to go through a few more of these slides to make sure I cover the gist of everything he was talking about. I went over this one, and again, I apologize for having to go back through all of these, but I'm having to. I took every angle of these boards so that I could make sure I didn't forget anything. Yes, I wanted to go through this. He listed, and that's a blurry version. I've got a better version of that too. Okay, well, I'm just gonna do my best here. But look who's buying cryptos now. Billionaire hedge fund manager Steve Cohen, billionaire Mark Lassery of Avenue Capital Group, Andreessen Horowitz, early investor in Airbnb, Skype, Facebook. And guess who else? Their early investor of XRP. We all know that. Wellington Capital, over $1 trillion in assets. Man, I'm having a trouble reading that. 12th largest trading firm by volume. Saskatchewan. I'm not sure what that says. New Goldman Sachs CEO. He mentioned that the new Goldman Sachs CEO is the most pro cryptocurrency guy on Wall Street. BlackRock, the world's biggest asset manager. The Rothschilds, the wealthiest family in the world. And then you're going to have to, I'm going to leave you on your own on this last, I think that says Thomson Reuters, but I can't quite make that out. But you get the point. And so, I'm going to give you, I got 2 or 3 more of these, and let's see if we can. I think here's the better slide. I found it. Sorry. Okay, go back. Thomson Reuters survey reveals 1 in 5 financial firms will begin trading crypto in, I guess that's 2018 or 2019. 1 in 5 financial firms. That's pretty darn awesome. Okay. Let me get that one out of the way, and that one, and let me make sure I'm not going to leave anything behind. Sorry if you're seeing all these slides again. Okay, I'm going to go down to these last 2. Those 2 other things that I saw him illustrate, and that is, one of them was all of these. He was making the point that I've made several times, is don't pay attention to these silly corrections. This happens over and over. And in my opinion, we're going through one of the larger corrections right now directly because of the manipulation that we've been watching. But you see that all of these different Bitcoin 5 corrections of 30% or more. This is just par for the course. This is how this game works. Those of us who have sat during this last 4 or 5 months and just looked at this market and been like, whatever, I don't care. I know what you guys are doing. And you just sit back and you hold and you buy more and you recognize it for what it is. You are going to be in the best position you've ever been in your life. One thing that I want, before I go to this last slide, that I want to mention to you is when I first turned on this show last night, this guy was talking to Glenn Beck about the opportunity of cryptocurrency. And he told Glenn, he goes, people don't realize this is the only opportunity that I've seen in my lifetime. And he goes, it could be the only opportunity any of us ever see in our lifetime where you can literally come into this market and you've got an opportunity to make thousands of % gains on your money. And he said, I've never seen it. And he said, I don't know if this kind of an opportunity will ever happen again. And what he's talking about is what I've been talking about over and over and over. You have an opportunity to be at the beginning. We're before the beginning of the opening of an entire market that, in my opinion, is going to completely dwarf the entire current market, the New York Stock Exchange, the NASDAQ, the world market. I believe and have believed that the crypto market will completely overshadow and swallow up, and all of the New York Stock Exchange, all of this is going to be on the blockchain. Okay, I'm going to show you this last slide just because I've got it here, and I think it's worthy of you seeing, and then I'll let you guys have your weekend. This is one other point that I think that he was trying to make is all of these people talk about how volatile that Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies are. And I've said this before, cryptocurrencies are only volatile because they're new. There's not a lot of money in them yet. Right now there's only roughly 280 something billion dollars in this. When this is over, it's going to be 40 to 100 trillion dollars. And they won't be talking about volatility when it gets to that point, because the more money you have in it, the more the slower things move. And so it's just like it's easier for me to turn a ski boat in the ocean than it is for me to turn the Titanic because of the size. And that's what this market, the way markets work. This is Amazon back when. These are some of the price swings that Amazon was having. And these guys that wanted to scare you, they used to say the same thing about Amazon. I remember watching one of those condescending 60 Minutes interviews where they went to Jeff Bezos, went to his office, and they were making fun of the guy in a way. And I remember watching that and thinking, wow, here's a guy who has achieved something huge, and these guys are basically poking fun of him in a way and making light of his successes. And they're doing the same thing with Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. It's the same thing. It's the same playbook. Don't pay any attention to it because we know, like I say over and over, we know in our guts what we're invested in. We know exactly what Ripple is and what XRP is. And so they can just laugh it off, sit back and enjoy the ride, because the ride's coming and it's going to be an uphill ride. All right, so I am the digital asset investor. I am not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe to my videos and hit the like button. One thing I wanted to mention, I just realized after doing this entire video that I did it without my new microphone, so the sound on this video is not going to be as good. I apologize. So you're just going to have to deal with a little lesser sound today. Please go and get your Ledger Nano S. It's in the link of my the description of my video. You can go directly to Ledger's website. Those of you that are new, the Ledger's the only real safe way to hold your digital assets right now. Don't hold them on an exchange, because the exchanges can be hacked and your digital assets can be stolen. Y'all have a good weekend. Thank you.